Well, today we celebrate Christ's triumphant entry into Jerusalem. It's a joyous occasion in one sense, but one which marks out the difficult road which lies ahead for Jesus and his disciples in another. During these last few difficult weeks, during which almost everything seems a little bit different from what we are used to experiencing, we have become accustomed to hearing such powerful and purposeful words uttered by our world leaders as they aim to galvanize their people in the face of this terrible virus. Words like triumph, conquer, overcome are words that are used to convey a sense of hope during times of challenge and change, and rightly so. There is an ancient Greek word called parusio, which literally translates as meaning an arrival or in the presence of. It is sometimes also used in the context of the second coming of Christ. It is a word which invokes with it a sense of triumph, certainly in the context of Jesus' entering Jerusalem. In the Hellenistic Greek, the word was a technical term for the arrival of an emperor or for a king who is welcomed as a famous person into a town or a province. The association of the word parousia has been connected with the visit of a god of healing, while politically sometimes petitions were presented to a visiting king and wrongs were righted. In the culture of the day, visits of that nature were marked out by imposing taxes and presenting a king with a golden crown. Primarily, the coming of a king meant that all things must be ready. It also marked out or signified the beginning of something new, a new era, a new section of time, if you like. It was as if with the coming of a king or an emperor, a new set of values had emerged. Jesus' kingship, like no other, will again come to fruition during these following days as we look to and glory in the cross and Jesus' conquering over sin and death. Jesus' sacrifice seemed to be unfolding in the face of a very real cultural understanding, one that could be identified with within that society, one which would embolden his followers and his hearers. He was about to embody and personify a message that the people desperately wanted to come to pass. That change was coming, and that it had indeed begun. And yet this beginning would mean that those who strew his way and who sang his praises would also be the ones to nail him to that cross. And this form of sacrificial love is the real triumph of this morning's readings. That even in our continued failures, we can look to the crowning triumph of one person, both human and divine, who does not simply use powerful and purposeful words, but actually becomes them for our sake. He was about to do what no other leader, governor, emperor, or king could do, no matter how good the intention. It is perhaps a message that we need to soak up at this time of difficulty, that God will not abandon his own, and his own we are. These last few weeks of Lent have all been about that, really. Learning to be God's people once again. And the very real way in which that has come about in recent weeks in our varying communities has been an amazing testament. In our own cultural setting and shift, in our own time, once again, we can experience this saving act for ourselves. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Hosanna in the highest.